Okay. Okay, I think it's live. Let's see. So yesterday I was looking into humidex and wind chill for winter time. Humidex applies when the temperature is over 19, and wind chill is in effect when the temperature is below zero. I was incorporating the calculations or the equations. That seems to be done. I have to correct some of the values, which usually involves scaling by 10. Yeah, you have to divide it by 10 or multiplying by 0.1. So it seems to be fine, and here is the result. It's day 20, so somewhere in January, let's say. We have wind chill. Now, as the time is getting later in the year, there's going to be a point where the temperature will be above zero and we won't have this wind chill. And then we'll show humidex at some point when temperature is over 19. That actually is happening in test cases that I can create here. So this is like sometime in April or May. So there is no need to show anything, and when the day is somewhere in July, then we have humidex. When the identifier or the humidex or wind chill is not existing, we should fix the layout so it doesn't look misaligned. It should be top aligned. Right now it's sort of horizontally centered. This is what I mean. It's going to jump up and down. So that might be a quick fix. Should not be shrink center. It's going to butt itself to the top. Let's see. Essentially, it's about this. Yeah. So let's see. In this case. Do we have margin here? 0. This H box, I see. Yeah, this is going to require some fixing later anyway. So if we are doing this for proper alignment, we should also have this. I'll make sure that it's not really the top. I did not think of the case where this was optional, so center was working. I'll have to introduce margin. So we would have same margin here and there. That's fine. But let's wait for the hour to get to, let's say, 6-7 in the morning. The temperature will rise. Let's fast forward a bit. Oh, I forgot that each tick is doing it, not. 19 and over 19, yes, we do have the humidex or not, depending on the case. Okay, so that's working. This one and this one will always be the same. Okay, so that seems to be fine. So I guess the next target might be doing this guy. Well, having this guy respond to temperature, time of the year. In essence, time of the year is controlling the temperature, which is going to control this. So going back to our diagram, it is going to be time of the year is going to change the weather condition as we are updating the user interface with the data. It is going to affect the living things as well. So I'm predicting there's going to be a great deal of refactoring in our near future. Just looking here if we could have a quick remedy to that separation. This guy. See, this guy is creating the template. Yeah, I'll fix the layout later. Could be anytime. Okay, so the crucial link here. We might have to investigate the resources, custom resources topic from a couple of months ago, I believe. Maybe even longer than that. Let me open the plant or plantoid script. Yeah, so this seems to be the resource. There's a plantoid script, so or actually I still left it like this. This is the classic approach, right? So you have a plant class or plant file which actually has classes and whatever, but then it's counterproductive because you are defining everything here, and then what do? You extend tomato out of plant, which may have its own properties and such. Problem though, it's limiting after a while, and that good old piece of advice, always favor composition over inheritance, kicks in. So either way, this plant file or script or whatever is already too long. So a lot of these if checks or is checks can be done in a pattern. So we do have a resources structure here, which is kind of a copy of that other file that I just showed, but it's going to be simplified even more. And the benefit of this is that, fortunately, I kind of broke the link, but you would have these properties exposed to the interface here. So you could easily create things like, well, I want to create a new plant. What? Tomato. So you say tomato. And then tomato's properties are here. You're just filling them out. And you pass the resources around instead of extending plant scripts. Because these guys have representation layers as well, meaning in this case, let's go to weather effects, 3D. This is a plant, or this one. So ideally, this guy should not really be interacting with a script. The resources can do some of this. I guess it will make more sense once I implement it, because I'm telling you instead of showing you, but things are really up in the air right now. So this structure might change as well, but it is more or less this way. Let's go to, let me go to the boards. There's, yeah, object classification board here. This was done sometime in April. I think it still holds water. So in other words, I'm gonna compose properties instead of doing inheritance. This looks like inheritance, but it's not. This is a sloppy representation. So we are going to have an asset, which is going to have representation. This is managing this game assets representation. If this thing is a receptacle, we call it contents. In this case, it's still left here, receptacle, because things could contain each other. Some things can be interactive, so this interactive shouldn't actually be assigned. There's going to be an interactive node here. If this object is rotatable, we should put that property here too, so it's going to be rotatable. It's not listed here, but one of those things. And again, if a model, something visual that we see, if it has one of these properties, we just put the node. That would prevent us from creating too many dependencies or that inheritance shortcomings. If anything, maybe there's a special storage box that is inventory. That's fine. Something will have an inventory property because we have the nodes, not because its base script is extending from. Whatever resource it has will be managed within the resource file attached to that. So how do I go about this? This is a massive chapter. For now, the goal is to move these plants growth phase from starting from here. We want to move it to this at a certain temperature, and this, and this, and then this. And then finally it dies. Back up. So I'm going to revisit that resources topic. So this is the core resource. Just for a test case whether we could actually read the most inner thing, nested, let's say. The plant is extending this, but that's really one level. Because every resource will have a name property, that's what we do. And then at this level in plant, this is where the plant stuff is happening. The thing is, at this point, we don't even need to extend vegetable out of or from plant. This was a test case to see whether we could have a special vegetable case that roll piece that thing. This is in most cases unnecessary. We will just do something like create a resource out of this. What am I missing here? Because I have an error here, that's why. I need to fix the script paths there. There are some clashes. Yeah, let's look at the scripts entities plant. In some version, I labeled it plantoid because are you happy now? Unique global class plant already exists at path, shouldn't it? Of course it does, because it's not really the file name, it's and there just happens to be another one there. And this entities business is really getting in my way. Not sure what constitutes entities, since everything kind of is entities. I mean, environments is different, but anyway, there's some messy stuff here. This seems to be the same script. What I'm curious about is whether this file and this file are the same. They are not. So somewhere around 164 in this one, we have this get stats ready for harvest, get water index. Don't. We have some of it. Okay, so it's safe to assume that this shorter one is garbage. It happens to be in just scripts. So let's delete you. And here's the problem. And this is the reason why I don't want to do this. Because if resources were attached instead of scripts, then this would not be a problem. And like, if you mess up with the inheritance or those dependencies, you're screwed. So we have 5 assets that actually using this, and this is like the test plant scene. Let's just remove it. Okay, it should be here. Okay, this should now stop complaining about that. And essentially what I would like to do here is resource is going to be a resource. We used to be able to do this. What's happening? What am I missing? The custom resource. Stands game object. Let's look at game object, which is a resource. Yeah, I was even able to get vegetable as a resource because it was. Oh, okay. Something is missing here. Let's relaunch the project. Not sure if dependencies have been updated. Maybe I'm wrong. New resource. Let's do plant. There you go. So you had to restart Godot. So now we have the plant resource available. So again, I said this is just a fancy case of plant. If you want to create tomatoes out of vegetable, you can, but you can consider tomato as a plant. Start off with a plant. Create this. Wonder what the hell happened there. See. Plant, create new resource, create. Aren't I supposed to label it somehow? What's the name of the new resource? Something is off again, but this is what I'm expecting to see. There you go. Plant resource, because plant is a game object by default. This is what I'm putting, so you can rename this. I guess. Oh, okay, because I do have these two. So let's say if I didn't have this, if I created a plant resource, it would create this, which it just did. It overwrote the file. So you could duplicate this and create new ones. And new one will be, let's say, tomato. So you type tomato here and you adjust all the tomato properties. That's how it goes. And then this resource is shared in assets here. So they are no longer run by scripts. You don't have inheritance problems, or to the minimum. That's the goal. Let me look at the plant. It's resource. Yeah, we most likely won't have this part here. This will be defined by the length, the duration of sun it's getting, and if the temperature is good. Pages. Yeah, this is not exposed to the interface because I'm exposing this one, I believe. There was some major grouping here. Reverse nested array, which is the element is in that array, then it returns true. How many times has it been used? I see, when we are setting it. Yeah, this is so that I don't end up writing long blocks like this. Well, I still kind of have to, but for each one of these, you would have to write a separate get, another if else case here, and then in the set to. Here we actually do it in one if. We just say if this exists as property, then we set the property to the value we are passing. And similarly, if that property exists, we get its value and output it. Um, this has gone through a few iterations, but all in all, it's all about exposing it and grouping here. I need to figure out this area. Get the temperature part here. This acts like minimum. And this acts like maximum. Anything over this, it's too hot. But when you have the seeds buried in the soil, during winter they survive, and come next spring or summer they come out. So if you consider that below freeze degree here, or freezing temperature, they die, then they cannot come up. So we have to consider it as if it's dormant, not entirely dead. It has a bit of different meaning. The cat. I'm sure. We may have a range here. Let's say if it's over 10% of this, anything above 35, it dies, which then looks like this. If not, mind you, this state could also go into dead state, which is going to wilted looking leaves. And maybe 10% of it is still good. Let's say 24 degrees, 28 degrees, you are still in the optimum range. So if the temperature drops below this, it dies. That's it. If the seeds are in the ground, we are considering that optimum max. That's what I'll do. Again, this has to be written for each one of these. By the way, this is the problem with the set here, right? That's. Did we do this? Let me see. It's 10. Couldn't do a breakpoint here. Temperature freeze, you set, it outputs this. Yeah, I need to do a major refactoring here. Do I start this? There's this extra one here. And then there was this old one. This worked, but the problem was anything that wanted to access the properties of this resource didn't have access to this guy, like these variables. You had to manually type them. It was not exposed. Look at this plantoid thing here. Not have any script attached to it. Well, it will have the most basic to hold the script, the resource, but not all inherited parts. We are looking for this one. Yeah, this should never be here. Instead, this should be handled call it resource actually. And this is what people are requesting, that we should have a plant resource. It's actually here, but it doesn't. The export hint isn't a resource type. This should normally work because this is a resource. You cannot bind custom resource. Bit of a problem. It actually finds it. It actually knows that this is the resource. It even takes you there. But this doesn't work. We have to do it like this for now. And there's another case where you say, save this. I can click here. What kind of resource is this going to get? So then when you say resource, it's everything. But when you limit it to plant resource, then you should be able to just that. Like you see the plant resource. Then there's this thing. This is what we want. So when you expand it, you get to see it. It's not a huge list like this. But essentially, it's the same idea. Which means all of this will be commented out, will be gone. So in essence, this script will be just like asset, game asset something, which is managed by this resource. If that resource happens to be plant, then it's taking care of itself. I'll grab some water and I'll be back. So let's update the stream goals. We are done with these two. We are trying to do this, but eventually we are refactoring this resource system minimally, just enough parts. Now, what did I call this? I'm actually going to call this asset. Might even have something like that. It's actually a folder itself. I'm creating assets. There's even a factory here in here, which creates assets, which is responsible for creating this out of these options. So it's fair that the root node will have an asset script. So under scripts, I'm going to create an asset script. Okay. Node empty done. So this thing is going to have this guy. I'll try to implement it kind of from scratch. Most likely I'm going to figure out a better way to do this work. I need to remember. Creating resources is easy, but there are multiple layers here. A lot of fields, so just by this, and this is the asset we have. This is what's supposed to happen. Here's the resource. Again, this is the whole list. I believe there was a way to limit this. Doesn't like this. You get the help. Ah. The export hint isn't a resource stuff. So when you look this up, Godot about custom resource. Yeah, if you replace the custom tab with the original class name, which is resource, that way. So I think people they treat it as if it's an array. The array is of this type. Class name plant extends game object, and game object is a resource. I don't think it mattered to have game object here. Yeah, this should be possible. It's a long-standing issue. Because this is what we want. condition data, and only that delimit it is here. Has anything been done about this? Yeah, it's going to be useful in RPG games, especially for my kind of game. Character GD extends resource. Okay, this is something what we have. Export resource for stats. What the? Yeah, but we still don't have custom resource. This is this. Okay. Yeah, this is a bit uh-huh. Yeah, this is also going to lead to this result, or fix we are looking. Okay, so this works. The custom resource doesn't work. So when you do this, this script attached to this asset, which is this, is going to let you pick resource, except it's going to be a huge list, and you will be able to find plant because it's in the file system. Just like plant, there will be a vegetable thing here. There is a way to limit it, but you gotta do a lot of tricks. So in other words, you don't really have anything like this. Normally this should only let you select plant, which is a problem because the editor is not recognizing that. In fact, it is actually in here. You cannot really use it. I think this was even the case without the inheritance here. Do this. Still the same problem. It's not like it's an inheritance problem. Oops, sorry. There is a chance that sometimes this is because this tool is accessing this tool, which is accessing this tool. Not really the case in this case. So if resource is going to be of type plant, would this work? Export hints type resource doesn't match the variable types plant. So then we try to do this. It also doesn't work because it doesn't recognize this. Then there's the as keyword. It's a whole other deal, but you cannot really have that before you do an assignment and you do something like, well, fetch something as plant. Then there's the casting. Do something like this sometimes. That also doesn't work. I'm gonna go and look at the documentation, but I don't think this will be any different. By the way, may as well switch to 3.4 too. Yeah. Standard this. Close this guy. Save and close. Opening. In the meantime, okay. So I need to do this. Okay, we are in it. Script has the same problem. Class definition with a custom icon. That's the icon. The file is essentially a class. Which is why this is why like it's counterproductive to do inheritance, because this used to be the plant script. Now looking for the hint parts. Inner class, okay. Okay. The built-in types, not interested in. Okay, data. Okay. Yeah, we cannot really use it. Yes. Couldn't do anything like this either. The editor lets you, but then it doesn't compile. You cannot really do this either. Try something stupid. This should always be resource. There is no custom resource. I keep typing that, hoping it will work. What kind of trickery is this? It's not the right file. This is the right file. Huh. The hint is still not working, but how is this any different than... Because I could still do this. Point. If this wasn't here, I could still do it. In fact, this could just be this. So this is a garbage variable. The hint parts, constants, enums. The whole hint section here. No. Reloading business. This is going to be an asset class. I should not be hard coding it as if it's a... In the worst case scenario, I create a plant script that I know always going to load plant resource or preload plant. Hint. Hint is not here. This is the part I'm looking. Okay. Yeah, it can't be custom resource. Says you show the text, but the values are integer. This is basically now. Then you hold the text instead of the. Could expose this. So I was hoping I could do something like resource comma and then pass my custom class. I guess we'll just be okay with that. Here's asset. Here's the plant. In this case, this is tomato. I could very well be creating a tomato resource. There you go. Going to be attached to tomato. Okay, similar idea. This, in this case, see, this is the difference. This must be inheriting from vegetable, because this is the vegetable boolean, which doesn't exist in. We have inheritance here too, but not necessarily polluting it here. So same idea. This is still not working because we already know that this part is not quite working. Make it work. Oh. Let me look at this game object. This looks so promising, and yet the missing link here was that I wasn't able to access the properties, right? Let's close all. We have asset. We have plant. This representation script, which is mostly empty. This sort of thing should not be here, but we left it for remembering it. Well, maybe this one will be. This system worked when it was given a list, an array. Would hold it in dictionary here. Because it's actually doing this. And when it's trying to call its internal get set, instead of calling this, it's calling this, which is setting it. I'm going to bring this back. and I have to, this is already garbage anyway. This is a helper function. This has to be commented out. This is my custom stuff. I'm commenting this one out too. Problem is, how do you know you're going to do your job? This has to be called explicitly with a list. This list is a list of, I kind of remember this. This was the property name, type, and value. That's what it was. Yeah, there you go. Name, type, value. That's what I. So in here, I need to be passing something like name, type, value. This has to be an array of arrays. So inside that array, each one will have its own, yeah. Which I tried to duplicate here, but instead of typing the, yeah, I was constructing it this way. In other words, when I run this, okay, this has its own ready function is in it too. Let's piggyback on this. Ready? Already? Not entirely a ready script, I think. Just do whatever. So you get for whatever, okay? This is what I want to do first. To do something like for this, create a new array, call it R. Okay. R append. Of course, you don't append. So I want to have the this is going to be another array here, and now I need to pass the type, which is type of. Problem is this is defined with an underscore here, so you gotta do something like, I think that's what I already did down here. I think I'm already doing it, except this is already a nested list anyway. So that's the to be honest, this is the name, and we need to get this. You get we may as well call it variable. Okay, this is the variable, and then variable is here, and we just get the type of that variable. Get variable. That's giving the type, and this is the value of that variable. in the end, I want you to output that array to me, see what happens. Function. Do this. Oh, because each one of these is its own. Call it 0. It. So instead of doing this, we could be doing something like add properties, and you do R. Which should expose. Where am I? This is in land. Yeah, it did. Okay. See, this is all because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The values are okay. When we change this, it stays. The problem with this approach, it was not grouping. It was good, but the grouping was a problem. Then we switched to this grouping logic. It didn't work at this level. But maybe with a bit of better structuring, I might make it. Okay. Because when we do this, we are essentially returning something like, but this is doing the default part. This is where we could do grouping. So instead of doing properties name as just default, it's like this. We need a group thing. So I think there is a way to create a group. I remember seeing somewhere one of these hints. Property hint wasn't group, but for usage. Proper category. There's a category part which is this. Could give it a name, which is also interesting. Group. That's it. So this is what we can do, I think. Is So what if we say this is a group? Okay. Say it's water. This is important because this is still mapped to this proper area, but we can no longer depend on this slash to what it's going to be grouped under. Now there's actually an automatic way for this to be grouped. It doesn't seem to be triggered. This is normally happening. So we may as well replace all this with underscore anyway. They kind of resolve to this. The thing is, when this is done, ideally what I would like to do is, see is this. You have a water group. You expand it, you don't actually get to see water here in the text. Just see, okay, water group, just consumption, capacity, whatever. Normally this shouldn't be here. However, it's there because whether with this or this is mapped to one of these. Because when you say consumption amount, there could be a different consumption amount for a different group. Right? Like this case, carbon consumption, oxygen consumption, that kind of. This is actually a nice way. It's like, well, guess what? Each one of these is the group. Instead of doing it on this, do it on smart dict. Let's do it in the 0. Okay. Maybe we'll do something in the text that will cut off the first part, because there's a way to change the text here. When you bind it in the name, it will drop it. So we'll do something like you replace string. For example, take any string like this. Go to our good old friend regular expression. We are trying to select anything that actually is a text until we see underscore. Also as many characters as you see until underscore, but we should stop at the first underscore. How do we do that? Anything that actually is still the same problem. It's greedy. There isn't much difference, but we can do this. Selects multiple results, but this is going to stop. This might too, but we don't really want to select that. That's it. When you get the list, you're only getting replace it with empty. Problem. I only want to replace the first one. I could kind of force this second selection group here, separated by this, and in this case this should be here. This is going to be non-capturing group. Problem is this is still going to comprise all this. Instead, maybe I should focus on the selection. So say this one. Garbage. That's it. So I'm interested in the list this time. Which is this. We do this. So we get consumption amount. This is the regular expression. In this case. So let's put a regular expression thing here, right? Var regex. Can do compile, except that's not going to run in that context, so we'll just do this in init here. Regex compile, because that pattern is not going to change. It has to be a string. This has some specific rules. Okay, in this case it doesn't apply to backslashes. Okay, compile. And now you do check here, regex which returns match. What are you searching? You are searching the name. Returns match. One. Only strings can be used as an index. Okay. Let's take this out here. Up. Contain of the first matching result. Otherwise, no. Well, we are confident we'll always find some. And this has strings as the array. That's the problem. Search, you search it, strings. This one has an array. Can do this. Somewhere here, we need to group things. It should be so type is always some number, but in case type is a group that I kind of overload here. Type says group, okay? Then this is going to be a different structure, different game here. If type is not a group, is the else case. This is true. Usage will be group. Okay. Then you can just apply the name. This is not going to have. It's also iffy. Sure. Once you process the group, the other thing is business. Cool. Let's see. If that's the case, this is garbage anyway, but we are looking here. So when we read smart dict 0, which is this, I think I did something here. This one. Yeah, it's about keys, and I tried to do that here. This kind of worked at some point. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty much doing this in that other class. How is it coming along? It's coming along well. So it's been several minutes. I didn't see your message. So how are you? Excited to hear your news, Unity stuff. The stream viewers numbers are a bit skewed, so I'm not sure if you're still there. But if you're there, hello. Sometimes 2-3 people are chatting and it still shows 1, so oh, you're there. Okay. Not much progress. I guess it's the winter. I'm a bit low energy too. But most likely doing too much. So how is your creation coming along? Last time you were showing the character jumping with a shotgun and blasting some particle effects. That's what I remember. But that was a month ago, I guess. And then there was the modular stuff that I remember. Green modifier stack code. Oh, this too, but the battle ship thing, yeah. Which bot? Ah, there you go. The bloody Streamlabs Twitch thing, which we removed yesterday, and it's still blasting us with its messages. In the Connect EM project. Or connect them. But I do remember this with the scoreboard and the icons, the markers on the map. I remember this. Minesweeper-like game. Fire stack, you can evaluate events through that, then applies cumulative changes to the... Awesome. Yeah, so yeah, it's a stack, as you said. Nice. So, yes, that's the precursor to writing an RPG game with the modifiers and boosts or boosters, spell effects, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yep. Stacks are important. Are important. I worked out a UI stack in this game, and it could be simple enough, but also you gotta manage them well, especially if the numbers are modifying each other. In this case, it's just UI screens. You get tricky quite easily. You gotta get the dictionary keys here. Essentially writing this again. Point evaluation and bomb effects. They go through that, result in super clean code. So. Event driven programming. It's good stuff. Speaking of events, yeah, I do have a lot of events event bus here. A lot of. So there's a central event manager here. I know exactly what you mean. Oops. I saved the file wrongly. Kind of afraid half of this is not implemented properly here. They might be. This one looks iffy. Why is there even an underscore? There is. Bit of a problem. Sure. So let's just be brave. Let's say we are parsing all the keys. So the keys are these parts. So let's be more civilized. There's a lot of fuck going on around here. Waste on what I can do. Yeah. The bloody update. There's also fixed update, right? In no, physics update in Unity. It's fixed update in Godot. All that stuff too. Physics update. Fixed update, update, late update, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think it's in it's Godot has physics update, if I'm recalling it. Or sorry, process. We have process, and let me actually open a decent file here. Let me see. Yeah, we have physics process and process, which is the update calls you guys have. Also, there's render in mono behavior. Yeah. Similar stuff. For this key, let's close this one. Water. Water is going to be need to have a different for loop here. Yeah. So then for variable in smart dict, that also sounds like a joke. Okay. Which is all this. Okay. Every one of these is going to be something like this. This is gonna go in here. Before we trigger this, I just want to see what I'm doing, because I don't think I know what I'm doing. So this is going to be the group. In this case, group is just the key itself, so we can seamlessly do this. This is actually the key itself is the group. The type, I'm going to hard code it and I'll type it as group. So like the whole idea what you screwed up. This doesn't exist. We don't need this. Var variable is this, so we'll just do hard-coded stuff, kind of like not hard-coded. Keep it there. No. These two are the same thing, so bad. Call this property. That's really what we are trying. And this is variable. And then print R. There you go. Water is a group, and under that we have a whole bunch of other things. Then we go into the oxygen group. Now please add these to the properties. Now when I do this and I come here, ooh, error. Vegetable 33. We give this error because of that. Let's change a line, and then this part is good. Could be any one of these. This one always struck me as suspect. This stage is also funny business. Here. Default value now, that's okayish. Yield resilience. Which doesn't exist. Wait a minute. Average yield, freeze, temperature. It doesn't exist because Oh. I see. Yeah, I thought I was smart here. Bye. Yeah, I'm already removing them in the editor part. I thought I could get away. Yeah, this is half-assed done part here. The rest is okay in my done. Yeah, at least I don't see null because they have default values, so that's good. Embedded get index 2 on base array. Now, this is happening because trying to read the index 2 of an array. That would normally happen because this one doesn't have an index array. Index 2 of this array is of course invalid. But I thought I was checking against it here. Type is group. Except when I do this, it's the problem. I see. For prop in list, I see. Gotcha. Should be checking it here. If prop 0 is group, that's what we are now. Prop 1 is group. Then you call it with this is the else case. Then you don't send the value because there is no such thing. You are complaining because too few arguments, default value is going to be null. Invalid operands, int and string and operator equals. Prop 1 is group, which I see. You know, the first one is always going to come in as a string, so we do like this, so we reverse them. This is still the same. This has to be changed. This is okay, but I also have to alter this one where I'm sending it in, which is the type of has to come first. Here the group has to come after, or the group has to come before the text key. Everything else is different. Let's see. Do I hear? Yes, I have. They have been, yeah, I made the mistake of installing them right before the shit show. And unfortunately, it's affecting my stream now, even though I'm not using it. I installed it. I happen to turn on something, which is interfering with the chat. When people paste links, it keeps warning them that they are, in other words, it's sensitive to the links pasted in the chat. You could try to paste a link or type a link. You'll probably get a warning from Streamlabs. I don't know why that's happening. I uninstalled it. I turned off the. Yeah, that's it. But I think I did it yesterday, and it's still creeping in. So this is what I did yesterday with another viewer. He helped me. We went into account settings. In security, we ended up removing connections. Yeah, I ended up removing connection here, Streamlabs. Yeah, that's what I did here. But I don't know how to do it otherwise, because this is the only place I could see it, and it's gone. I'm still doing it. Revoke the Streamlabs access. Yeah, you might have access to undented stuff, but then it would have displayed here. Yesterday, it actually said Streamlabs connected 1 month ago, and that's when I actually disconnected it. I don't know what else to do, to be honest. Without access token, how do I remove the access token? Yeah, that's the question, right? But I don't know where else to go here. Security, privacy. Different. What page to make him disconnect? So you are saying I should go to Streamlabs, maybe? Try to log in. Oh, now you are Streamlabs desktop. Look at them. They're. Did I even use this? I think I used this. Let me do this off screen, see if I have a password for it. Streamlabs. I don't. So I must have used some other way. The thing is, might have used this. Because yeah, YouTube is my main thing. I think I use this. So you are saying this guy is responsible. Something here is responsible. You might be right about that. This CloudBot. Account. Integrations. I don't think this is it, but it's kind of close enough, right? Chatbot. CloudBot. Let's go to CloudBot. Link protection. Permit name. All allows a viewer to only send links to chat from websites on whitelist. Bye. Yeah. The thing is, I'm not even sure why this is running. Because I'll actually turn it off, but like altogether. Let's see. Find it top. Yeah, that. It certainly has useful stuff, but I wouldn't want to use any of their products. I may actually just delete my account, to be honest. Just do that. And here's how they lose customers. Account settings. Here, delete my account. There you go. Unmerge Twitch. This will do it. I want to unlink it. Unlink successfully. Reload it. Good. Smarten up. Unmerge. Stream elements are nice. If they smarten up, I may actually use them. This Periscope used to be, well, it's now Twitter, right? Periscope thing. Let's see. Stream elements are nice. Yes. Meaning they're like, yeah. The interface looks slick, certainly. Positioning elements works a lot better than OBS. OBS interface doesn't make much sense to me sometimes to move things around and the folders, grouping things. However, what they did with the OBS brand, like, it's weird. When people think of this as an extension of the original service, which is not, it's ripping off. That's not a cool move. So they're live plugins on top of. So yeah, you're saying the plugins could be installed in OBS, which gives this same functionality. Yeah, I might actually investigate. Certainly. Let's hit this R again. Mirror. Integer string cannot be equal, that kind of thing. Let's see. I see this. Do I actually have? Oh. You know, I'm probably going to make an exception. It's kind of weird. Oh. See, there's some funny business at this level too, but try that out. They roll their own install package for OBS, but it will still support updates of OBS. Cool. Interesting. So it's you called it stream elements. Ultimate. Looks like I visited this page before. Chatbot. What other features we have? There's this. Alerts and overlays. I see. They just do it better. Yeah, so far I came up with my own layout thing in OBS, but you're talking about overlays too, like pop-up subscriptions or followers, that kind of thing. This is also doing that too. I don't think this kind of stuff comes available by default in OBS anyway. Yeah, standard OBS is ugly as fuck, yes. The useful piece of software, but the aesthetics are not their biggest concern. A good product, though. Definitely. Good product. So when we send this list, Prop in list. Prop 0. If it's group, which is group. There you go. Then we do this, which sends group as type. We stupidly check here again. And prop 1 becomes water here, which is name. Right, that's the error I'm seeing. Or is this working? It's not working. Why should it? Your OBS plugins are chat, stream events, music stuff, more all. It actually sounds like a line from Matrix. All what body needs. I will definitely investigate this stream element. I will put it here in Milanote. Good. So that's that. We are kind of 10% done here. Done. Speaking of overlays and such, also fixed your Twitch overlay project. It downloads emotes now. Ooh. Yeah, you were trying to integrate it with the Twitch API, right? So I'm guessing during a stream when people trigger those emotes. Yeah. Yeah, I see those in some streams. There are characters bouncing here at the bottom. Interactive ragdolls and such. Oh, you're talking about something else. I see those are overlays, but I've seen some that actually react. Like say I would type a message in the Twitch chat, and then it would show up here in the stream while I'm watching the viewer. Mind you, people could read the chat window, but I guess. Yeah, that's that was a basic function. Yeah, the things could do now, right? From the IRC days, ICQ days to stuff doing streams. Chat color modes, yeah. Yeah, color is something I see too commonly. Everything someone's, yeah. You could even do some like fancy text sentiment analysis, that kind of thing. Happy messages, different colors. Cool stuff. You could actually do a stream about Well, I know you are doing it on Twitch, but sometimes people watch tutorials on YouTube about things like this, how to do chatbot things for Twitch. It's a different audience, mind you. People watch more tutorial stuff on YouTube. But then you could store that footage on Twitch too, permanently. But it's more, Twitch audience is more like sort of fast food, but it's like, quick to digest. YouTube is more like, yeah, I'll go back and watch it later. Cool. Bot public, nice. So by the way, last night I discovered a different streaming service which could be available here. I haven't tried it yet. I created an account, but I'm not broadcasting right now. It's Trovo. Kind of looks like Twitch, but they have this spell thing and other fancy. No, could be a competitor soon. Different things. It's a new environment. They have games and other things. And this took a while for Twitch to put software and game development. There aren't that many streamers under it, but nevertheless it's there. Setting things up you need to, yeah. Overlay, let's see. Okay. See, look. Looks interesting. Yeah, true. Yeah, I think so. The artsy stuff. Cool. By the way, your last link was not. It didn't trigger stream naps, so it's a good sign. Paintbrush, yeah. This actually looks like rooster head. Some like, gives me that kind of feeling. Interesting look, yeah. Yeah. It's a win. And I recognize some of these faces from different places on the internet. Yeah. Cool. Good job, man. I will follow you. People should really look into that. Game pit people. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this art style, I see it more and more. Cool stuff. Checking out the cat. Battle Block Theater. I don't think I've heard that. I see. Okay. Lots of explosion and particles. Cool. It's not the kind of game I see myself playing, but people are creative. Slice of bread, toasters, cool, nice stuff. Yeah, this has that co-op feeling, really. Yeah, co-op feeling, which is popular or has been in the last few years. There are actually YouTube channels that, yeah, like friends play together, and that's a different kind of stream material too. People have been watching single streamers, but now people are also interested in co-op players too. More mayhem, sort of stuff. By the way, I'm writing a book. Uh, you might have seen me mention it before. So half of my time is spent on writing the book. That's why I've been streaming less. We'll see. It's gonna come out in June or July. It's a Godot book, as expected. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, crazy times. A lot of work. I need a very good long rest, to be honest, these days. There's always something else to do. And I don't seem to be able to write this simple if-else block, and why. Let's save again. Going to trigger it. Vegetable plant 34. Water absorption amount makes me think that might be the very first year. Keys. And you get the key, which gives you this array. And there are variables. You don't, even if you do this, nothing is going to happen. You know that now. So variable could very well be the property here. Doesn't matter. That's not really our major problem. This is eventually sent into this area. I have a feeling that this is integer and it's thinking of this as string. What if I do something like, if the type is -1, I do some kind of check here that I say if prop 0 is -1, here type is -1. What if I do this? Is it okay? Search, non-existent function search. Regex. Is this an important? Kinda. So I'm creating resources that I could expose to the interface, so that I'm creating tomato. I'm adjusting its water needs, or what kind of temperature it needs, optimum, maximum, it's too hot or it's freezing, whether it dies in minimum, maximum conditions and thrives at optimum conditions. So I don't want to create inheritance hell, because I will have most likely 1,000 objects, so it's the right way. It's scriptable objects in Unity, so this is the resource model in Godot. So there is a way to group your elements in the interface. So because I also have too many variables here, that if I expose them, this list is going to be too long. So I have working prototypes. I'm improving it so that I can tuck more stuff under groups, create groups of groups, that kind of. I think in this case I'm going to do something like this here. Let's pass here at the expense of compiling this here again. The fact that it says compile, it actually doesn't exist here. That's the oh. Still the same problem. Does not like this. Thinks of this as a null thing. Oh, of course null. That's stupid of me. I'm not constructing the object, of course. Of course it's going to say null. So let's put you back here. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So somewhat success. Yeah. So I'm going to have Google Sheets. I will be doing the whole data. I will most likely export that into JSON or write my converter that's going to convert it into this resource file. So what you see here in the interface as values like this. In Godot, they are, in this case, this is a tomato. Let's open this with a text editor. Open with Notepad. So in this case, I have not changed the default values, but anything that you see here in the interface is going to be here. So I could easily create this text file from different resource. Yeah, you don't want to do that kind of menu. But then when you have hundreds of variables, you also don't want to suffer here either. So this is working, the grouping is not working. Most likely I'm still struggling here. I have to look this up, but this is the way to group things. Problem is, this dictionary structure that this guy is storing the data in is not the way to go about it. Yeah. I already have some asset factory here that is doing something a little bit different. This is binding the visual model file to the node structure. This is like your prefab project hierarchy. So I'm automatically constructing this with this plugin that I wrote. But this is also going to assign it a plant resource. And then once it's assigned, it's going to list it here, and this data will be coming automatically from a different system. So in the end, I'm probably going to do something like this. I need a new kind of tomato. I define the variety, and I say it's going to be plant or tomato, whatever. Create it. and it's going to put it all together. Do I really need it exposed? For fine-tuning and changing values, maybe I'll ask someone else to change it, or I could also create copies like this. I can duplicate this. In the duplicated, you can easily change it. If the pipeline is too long to run, at the very least right now, when I'm implementing other parts of the game, like this, I'm kind of here. This guy is going to request some resources from soil, whether it has water or not. And of course, the plant will tell the player how much harvest there is. So this is going to interact with other game systems. So I need to be a bit flexible here with what I'm doing. For now, it's for prototyping reasons. It's not solid yet. Like the fields are not solid yet, so I'd rather expose them to the internet. Yeah. Database. It could be. I might use SQLite at some point. Likely. Mind you, this resource file is actually doing that job. And plus, it's serialized. So you don't need to make a database connection and read it. It cuts down some of the effort, to be honest. But then, yeah, you need a smart system to update those resource files. I mean, a human can update them too. Like, look at me. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty much like the format that the problem with database is that it's hard to know 100% like what is happening, and like at the planning process you go and then remove columns and whatever, which you have visual helpers too, I get it, but I mean, this beats the database. I'm writing a single line here, whatever, I expose it to, like, just say include this in this list, I'm done. I don't think that kind of thing is very flexible to database. It's more of a long-term storage process. So we'll see. Open to suggestions, but if possible, yeah, I wouldn't want to read it from JSON or XML because this has all this benefit. You couldn't expose JSON to this. Could be converted from JSON to this, which is so where did this thing go? Pear shape. It's not grouping. The fact that you are outputting 6 error messages and you have 6 keys, you are talking about type is true or not, is concerning. Type is -1, group 0. Continuing. Oh, another person to ban from the chat. Block user on YouTube. I've blocked this in chat. I see. Yeah, I think I'll keep it in Google Sheets. Share it with people. They will be entering data. Yeah. So that will eventually come into this resource file. Yeah. But here's another thing. This resource file is like, scriptable object. Other code files can easily access these parts too. So the benefit, like you said, if it's about data conversion, it doesn't matter if it's a resource or inspector exposed thing. This is just for me to see it. But also long run, this has the benefit of having these variables accessible too. Why don't we print out just the name of that group? Because we do know this is happening. Let's comment you out. Let's clear you to this. So we do, okay, we have always double output anyway. Water, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, temperature, harvest. So we do have it. Name. What is the name here? Name is coming in as one of those long names. It's exposed. Someone will do the fixes. Yeah, there is that danger, right? Someone overwrites it here. Not permanent data. Yeah. Well, it's about scripts. I've been working on weather data, which is kind of the topic of the current stream. But I have to write the plant part to make the weather functional. I have the working prototype here in these temperature values are real life values. So this part is done. The next step is to make sure that at this temperature, after a while, the plant will go from seedling to flowering and fruit phase, that kind of thing. So for that, I have to refactor this. So for that effort, I had to convert these CSV files to accessible data. So it's pretty much what you're saying, like it's about pipeline. Because if possible, I don't want to read the data from here, which looks horrible enough. You'll see in a second. This could very well be a Google Sheets file. So. Yeah, pipeline. Pipeline it is. So this name is one of these things, for sure. So what's happening here? I make that as the dictionary's key, fine. Then the displayed name is this, which is actually done because this is water absorption amount. So we will have repeating consumption, but this should be under their own groups. Should be here. Which means I'm doing something wrong here. So but this was the way group. Missing something here. Property usage. What default again? I have to look this up, to be honest, in the documentation because I'm so close. Type nil. Yeah, I knew I had to has type, but I couldn't think of the type name. Type nil. That's it. Done. So now we could have the same labels for each group, but when I change this or this, it's mapped to proper variable. So I could have the same consumption for different groups. The rest of the problem is these values are not showing this stuff. It show they should not be 0. That would happen because can do a quick check here. What is the value here? So we do get those values. Why are you not binding them? The binding is happening here. If the properties has that property, that value is whatever value we are. So why are you not doing it? Oh, another person to ban. There are some people who come and paste very short links, and they go to places, obvious places. Yeah, there is a link that is, who knows where it's going. I clicked it a few times. Yeah, I just blocked the user and deleted the... Maybe Streamlabs was useful after all. Yeah, I clicked it a few times. It opens a lot of tabs, a lot of flashy things, and a lot of body parts. Well, I clicked it knowing what I was doing. Plus, I'm kind of used to that kind of stuff because I used to work in that sort of industry as a web designer. So it didn't horrify me, but it's unexpected sometimes. Yeah, no, it's all good. Incognito it is. Chlorine, yes. Burn it with fire. Yeah. We are close here. We have proper grouping. This looks nice. Could have, I don't know, cherry tomatoes. Fun. This is plant's sun liking stage. Oxygen, whatever. Why are these 0? Even though we are getting the value. Let's read this. Hint string. Hint. Property hint none. Okay, that's the group default. Okay, good. Let's swap you. Don't swap, sorry. Done. If properties has property, can you do something like, what is the property? Space and give me the value. And don't do this. This is going to output a lot of or not. This kind of explains it. Why this is all set to 0. Because it couldn't set it, because there you go. I don't understand what the value is of something. Dictionary. Properties, property. Couldn't you have printed out something? You know, the error is not happening here. It's actually happening here. You're trying to access the value of the dictionary key. This. So I'm going to put this here without this. Which property are you trying? You put this back on. Okay, there you go. Don't bother with this. Ah, that's it. We are putting in oxygen, which is a group. Yeah, I'm not making I see. Because my variable name is temperature_freeze. It's not temperature. There is no such thing as temperature. How am I going to separate the groups here? How am I passing this? Okay, I do. -1 is this. Let's skip this -1 business too. It's too non-descriptive. Group. We do group. Thank you. Have a good night. Good luck with your chatbot too. Talk another night. Do group. Do this. This is actually temperature, right? When I get it, the temperatures. I do, since this is another dictionary. Temperatures usage. Let's see. S property is true, but if property is property, that's it. I'm trying to access the value which doesn't have a value. If I say if the usage is property usage group, then you return null. Or if it's not this, you do this or this. Nope. I think this will work anyway. Otherwise, you return null. We'll need something like this so that we are not setting the value. clear, save. We go back to this integer business, prop 0. Why is this happening? So type is coming in as a thing. Right? Always. It's sometimes coming in as an integer. Yeah, well, okay, change it to -1, whatever. Clear. Still 0. We do not get any error store, which is a different kind of concern. So what happens when you do else? Wait a minute. Don't get this at all. This doesn't exist at all. Property. What do you mean? -1. Am I not passing it? I do pass it. Now it doesn't think it has the property. That's awkward. Just want to output the property that it doesn't think it has. Here. This is madness. But this looks cached. Like, how is this here? Should have been cleared. Okay. Things get this bad. And I guess something is kind of working. Because it's doing this and this, most likely. There. We don't really need this either. Then what is it that you are printing out? What is printing out here? Print. I'm not printing out. Who's printing out? This is all good news. It's actually doing all this. Who's printing this out? Okay, see, it's cached because now it's not outputting. Now, supposedly this property, and you gotta do it twice. The usage is kind of this. Do something like this then, return null. And maybe do this. Now, you don't think that property is in properties. Why? And do we even have to explicitly say false here? This is what, fifth? Okay. Need a bit more water. Okay. Something is working as usual. Rest of it is not. Why was it working the first time? Why are we getting this now? So this is the group. Then we pass the property name. This is unique. The time of rendering here. More people to block tonight. Okay. So this is taking only the relevant part. Type is what we are passing anyway. Result really is what we are giving here. I mean, this could very well be just add prop. And now you do prop 0 and checks here. Will most likely turn into that soon. But let me just this was working too. Cancel this part. Clear. This is the problem. We should have seen this part. Now we get to see that the second time I save because it's kind of cat. Don't get that part. So this is happening. Okay, it should be gone. Now I'm going to make another change. There. It should not be output, so which is fine. But then is any of this happening? When this property exists, what is the property's usage? Let's check that. Okay, please do that. Do print, which is this. And this is going to give everything. Which means properties as property doesn't exist. And yet it does. So here's the problem. This should not come as of course this doesn't exist. At some point water, so why? Okay. Unfortunately, when we show it like this, I think it loses the I think I understand the problem, which is unfortunate. Save again. Wanted to get rid of this. This name is yeah, it's the property name. It has to be attached to hint string. There's also hint string, right? Can I do this? Do it twice. Was hint string. Yeah. rotate underscore string. Okay. By the prefix defined hint string rotate underscore. Rotate speed is going to be shortened to speed hint string. So that's okay. I'm taking all the rest, but I need to be okay. This is kind of an awkward thing, but we'll do name split by underscore. The 0 is going to be this, plus I'll put my own awkward, but name is I see. Oh, it's about group string. Let's see. There you go. You gotta add this because I have that cache problem. So perfect. Okay, so get rid of this. We still need this because sometimes we pass the group or not. So it's the problem. I don't think we need to do. We might have to do this. I'm not sure. I'll do that double thing. So let's remove this too. That's for sure. This is always crappy. Save. Do another save. That's it. Might be it. Definitely need it. Stop. So you say rename me. Okay. When you say 4 stays 4. Set temperature freeze done. Okay, so that's some good news. I feel celebratory. I'm going to grab tea. Now have grouped properties, which is good. I just want to write a quick test in asset itself here. So when this is ready, what I want to do is just want to output the whole resource, which is awkward, but not going to happen here because this has no tool. But if you run this by itself, it's going to try to render and trigger that ready, which is the resource itself. And in this resource, I want to access some stuff. So here's the problem. Cannot really see what's happening inside now. If we type, for example, this, try this, run it, you will see that it's false. And by the same token, you could type something like temperature, please. You will get the value, which is going to be 4. Okay. But this is not going to be exposed to the interface. The reason for that is because this is not exactly cast. If this thing happened in the new Godot version, it will happen. Not necessarily 3.5, Godot 4. We are hoping. Cast it. Not like this, but let's see. Var plant resource is plant. And you could do something like this. You plant that temperature. So this is kind of an awkward thing. So we were hoping that this is going to be recognized as plant in the future, custom resource, so then you could actually have proper lookup. Because this sort of line, this is going to give the same result, but you don't want to. You'd rather have this, let's say, than trying to hard code it or sort of manually type it, hard code it. So this will both give the same result. Plus, if this is cast to, or if this was available as a custom resource, and if it was plant, you wouldn't have to do this sort of long list here. I just accidentally changed it because it was opening and I happened to click. That should not be a problem. Normally, Q10, another run. So this is kind of an awkward thing. One thing we can do is this. You can do onReady plant or asset. And this is something I might actually engineer later with the asset factory. That when we have this, which I just typed this onReady var asset. Then you don't need to do this here. So then we can get something like no longer need this. This is going to be asset. Okay. And we'll get I don't know, yield resistance, resilience, which is going to give us let's get the weight. Okay, so it should give us 5. So this is kind of an extra line. Let's see if I can do this with preload plant, which is going to be awkward. Let's say I do preload. Of course, at this point, this is going to give an error. preload. When you preload it, problem is these things will be created in the game automatically too. So if the player is creating an asset, this asset will have a resource and we'll have to bind this dynamically. So we cannot really do this. We could load and attach it later too. You didn't really find it, did you? You don't really load resources, preload resources. You preload scenes, pack scenes. Actually, there is a resource loader for this. Resource loader. Actually has a load method path, which actually is type hint. To rest. Okay. So if you don't do this, the error it does. Well, because there's nothing in. Fine. So what's happening now in so it doesn't actually read it. And this is something we won't know. The thing is, we shouldn't even do this. We won't have to. This asset will be asset type agnostic. You will only hold the resource, but you won't know what kind of resource it is, whether it's a plant. The system in each resource is responsible for reacting to world events. In other words, we won't really tell this asset what to do with the resource. The resource will take care of itself. So even this is sort of counterproductive as well. So for now, in other words, the resource itself, this plant GD, will most likely have an awkward thing to say right now, but sort of finite state machine. To move the plant stage from healing to dead, one of these things. Kind of 5% more done arbitrarily. This doesn't even matter. All this is exposed anyway. Well, this is kind of when we don't want to do the grouping, right? This is all group stuff, that's why. You can also have this part. How is plants unexposed? Because that's another thing here. Always harvesting is somewhere there. This is coming from the vegetable. This is not bound. So I actually excluded those two things. Let's see if they are also available. Time to grow in days. Kind of kill them, right? Ages. Stage time to, okay, because they are not stages. Say stage. Gotta do something like this. Find it. Gotta then enable this too though. This. Days to mature. This. Number of stages. That's an arbitrary thing. Find stage. Which stage is it in? That was a bit of a gray area. Let's take that out for now. Let's start with the basics. Okay. Stage time to grow in days. Days to mature. So when I save this, I should at least have one more field here. Not this. Wait a minute. Why are you here? Why is it even okay? Number of. Are you doing the double thing again? Yeah, you are. Silly. So this is okay. I want to do this simple thing here too. So let's bring this back. I think that will eventually lead to this other enum here. So how do we handle this? We do soil. And this should be available. Now here's, I think, what's happening. I'm not exposing this, but this is the dictionary, right? But this type should be selected from an available list. Let's run this. I'm pretty sure this will fail at some stage. So it's going to say null. It's saying that because soil preferred, I see. I was making some kind of silly change. That was the old model. 0. That's actually this, so it's not really displaying silt. Possible I would like to show it like this. Plant sun is this one, because you say sunlight as available list. Expose this into the interface is a whole other work, which is gotta put a different kind of group here, not group, usage. So removes enum. These but I know it exists. So let's pretend we are writing it. So gotta do this, and here in the int string, we gotta pass comma separated values. Means we need another if else block here. Of course, the weird thing is, how is this going to come from the Google file, right? So right now, if we had to look at this in a text editor, let's open it up. Here's what we would see. It's all the same. But system is grouping them. There's nothing here that's grouping it, which is good because this could all be simple columns, or that I have sections in Google Sheets that's actually, or exporting relevant bits here in a certain order. Okay, this has to be thought out at a later date, because maybe I won't be passing my stuff into this file. Most likely I won't be passing it in like this, because there has to be another system that is reading this and considers this as group. Instead of passing them like this, it will actually deduce it. Oh look, all these can be grouped under this. Oh, we have the basics of it. So something that creates this sort of structure, good enough. You can do this. And maybe at that point I will include the enum. Because here's what's happening. I'm not sure if plant prefers more than one soil type. If this should be a checkbox or just one selection, but if it's one selection, this should be coming from a list. One. This checkboxes, then we have to do something else. If that's the case, then we'll have, like, I don't know, soil type, 3 items here, and we'll have checkboxes, something like this, grouped under soil type. Of course, the question is, how do we get to that interface from here, and also how to get to here from Google Sheets? It's a later day's problem. I have 15 more minutes. Today's task is again making this part, this temperature change to grow the plant. We are assuming this is the plant with this properties. Let's talk about the plant stage. And before I worry about grouping it properly, I will expose it. It will actually come up here. So this plant stage will be going to be awkward. It's just going to be stage. Stage will be of type export stage, plant stage. Stage going to be in seedling. So we want to move this forward. And we will move it forward when the air temperature is going to be above this guy's freeze. So again, I'm writing a very crude function here. This should be all tidied up, mine. You have an on ready, right? In it. I don't think this can ever have a ready, because it's a resource file. You cannot. Is another complicated issue. If anything, what I'll do is this is going to have a like process thing. Since we can do ready here, we'll just say, well, this will bind to world events, and we will say, well, resource, there's going to be a take care of things function, and it will trigger them. But for now, when this starts, can we do something like this? Just give me your stage. This function, it already exists. Of course it exists. This. Let's put you in a function and say populate inspector. That is this. We call that populate. Inspector is another function. Now it is populated. So when I run the game, we trigger this asset. Asset is here, but it's in there's no stage. It's actually 0. Stage. Run again. Close. I made stage 0 because this is seedling. Seedling is 1 because it's here. And it's also so tiny we don't get to see it, but well, not right now, but there's another reason why we don't get to see it, because I did not set it to seedling stage. Now this has to be marked. It's like plant stage, right? We'll actually have a name, seedling, or 0, okay? Because maybe this order will change. I don't know. So we can't always go forward sometimes. I don't know. Not like it's going to shrink. May look sick. That's the whole other problem. Let's just turn this on the game. We should see some green stuff here, tiny. There you go. So when the temperature goes over 10, and we'll actually set the date to an earlier in data. Something like 60, day 60. I gotta see if it's over 10. Okay. It's not. Just want to be close enough that we could actually see. Maybe that's too much. 75, 79, 4. And this is 85 is perhaps the best. Whoa. Yeah, we have some cold days in this is when 60, 60. This is mid-March. April 30, 60, 90. This is May 5th. It's not really, but because there are some duplicate fields there, right? Let's go with the 85 again. Yeah, we had some stupid weather. 30 January, 60 February. This is late March. I want to be let's make it 100. Then it's too much. What the? Okay, this is good. I can move up to. Okay, this is good. I'm going to see this. But I have a few minutes. So let's imagine we are writing. Let's say bind. Let's say we are binding here. We do something like event bus connect. I do something like right now I'm doing the time passed thing. Excuse me. So this is going to be a very basic check point. Something like this. This one. It's sort of like collecting points. If the temperature is over the freezing temperature, if weather system get measurement for temperature. By the way, this is something that I have to change. It should ideally return the ultimate value. Instead, after we return this, we still have to factor in whether it should be scaled by 0.1, the multiplication. So I'm actually typing it here. For now, this has to change. So if this is the temperature, right? If this is more than equal freeze, which is temperature freeze, just one time, okay? We do something like representation wow. This is here, right? But it's happening here. This should basically talk to this guy to move the stage to the next step. In other words, this guy has to respond. This is most likely going to have some just move the representation to the next place, or structures. Maybe it will take care of damage. That will be multiple purposes. But from within this script, which is the resource file, to be honest. This is the resource file. You cannot have direct access to represent. Instead, this resource should tell whichever thing it's bound to, this one, do something. So we'll do something like, if this is the case, say, for now. So when I run this game, I'm going to pull this here and we'll wait for this call. When the temperature goes over 10, which will do, it will say yay, another yay, another yay. So as long as it stays over 10, maybe it's going to collect enough life points, let's say, that after a few days, it's gonna go to the next phase. So that all has to be implemented. It's like the AI there. And of course, while we are doing this, this should not be this is saying yay, but let's do self. Because what is this, right? Where it is in this context. Oh. Now I'll move the clock a few hours. So it says resource, okay? Which makes sense. And you can say, well, what is get parent? Which is not going to make sense because the resource can't have a parent. But I think these guys have owners, right? What is accessible? Worst case scenario, what I can do is I can emit a signal because this is the plant, right? I think this is going to be a local event because, let me see. Might be a common problem with other scripts too, because when I say move, sign up to a global event, then everything that is signed up will be notified. Signal move stage something like okay. So when you do this, is happening in here. Again, poor architecture, but you connect, which is not going to be this, but say connect. Not really connect there, right? Okay, see, it's under I see this self. Yeah, this is poor architecture. Just want to see this quickly tonight, and then we can go. Presentation. This is going to trigger something else. The child 0, which is that. This is going to have first child will do visible false, and then we do visible 1 true. Again, this should be incremental, but for now we'll see it after a few days or hours. This will go to the next phase. As soon as it hits 10, there you go. So this is just a very rough prototype. But it's happy news. Let's run it again, and then I'm signing off. Here's the plant. All its glory, and it is 10 degrees. Gross. On that note, that's it for tonight, and I will make this architecture a lot better, and so we can move forward without hiccups. That's it. Have a good night.